by a show of hands, did you have a good time today? Before we start, I just wanted to give a big thank you to the man that made this possible and his staff, Charlie Mulcher, everybody. Let's hear it for Charlie. I'm Adam Wade. I'm from New Hampshire. That's never happened before, so thank you. My freshman year in high school was probably one of the worst years of my life. I was in the marching band. I played the alto saxophone, and after the first year, it was like June of my freshman year, the conductor called me into his office and he said, sit down. And he goes, I've been here 35 years and I never said what I'm about to say. I was like, oh. I thought I was going to get a compliment, and he said, you're not mentally or physically able to handle the rigors of marching band. So, and then my other big claim to fame my freshman year was I was on the golf team as a reserve. So you don't get to play. But I made a friend, and he was real. Don't be a jerk. And his name was Freddie, and Freddie was a public bus driver. We didn't have school buses, we just had public buses, and we had 3 in my town in New Hampshire, and no one took them, so they were like lonely men, and this guy, my mother forced me to take the bus, and that first day it was down at the corner. I went down there, and he had grown up with my father, so he knew my father, so we hit it off, like kindred spirits. I'm like, hey Freddie, he looked like Paul Bunyan-esque with like this big beard, and yeah, we just hit it off. And I don't want to brag, right off the bat, I'm bragging to you, but the bus stop was down the block. Next morning, the bus was right in front of my house. So I got good service. And it was really nice. Like, we would talk sports and stuff. It was like a 20-minute bus ride, and he would give me like sports trivia. He'd be like, what Red Sox player eats chicken before every game? And I'd be like, oh, that's Wade Boggs. And he'd be like, wow, you really know your sports. Thank you. And we had each other's backs, you know, like he'd gotten written up, safety violations and stuff like that. Hey, listen, that's bullshit. You shouldn't have got written up, you know. When you're riding the bus, Freddie, and I'm here in the front seat right next to you, and you got your knee on the steering wheel, and you got your donut in this hand, and you got your coffee, like, I feel safe, you know. They shouldn't have written you up. That's not right. Like, thank you, Matt. You're a good boy. You're welcome. You know, you're so nice. Someday, like, you'll have friends your own age. I was like, wow. That's awesome. And he was loyal. Like, he was a real loyal guy. Like, I have baby lungs still. Like, I'm asthmatic. It's not the medical term, but like, my lungs are like the size of a baby. And like, I was very, very asthmatic. I was sick a lot. So he would be waiting in front, like a loyal guy, waiting in front of our house, and the diesel fumes would be coming in and it made it worse. But my mother would have to go down and say, like, Freddie, you can keep going. Freddie was the best, except for one big thing. Where he would drop me off, he dropped me off where all the cool kids parked their cars and got dropped off by their parents. And it was a very vulnerable area to be dropped off in when you're on this public bus. And when I would get down on the stairs, he thought he was doing me a big favor. He would yell, have a great day, Adam Wade. Have a great day. Take care of yourself. And I'd be like, oh okay, yeah, thank you, Freddie. And the kids picked up on it, and it wasn't like a cool thing. And so I was like, how do you tell someone that you love, you know, to keep it down? And so, like, when I would leave, I'd go, hey, Freddie, have a good day. And then he'd open the door, and then he'd yell, like, have a great day. Like, all right, it's not working. It's not working. And then after a few months, the day happened, the day that I will never forget. I had a cold, I had like the sniffles, and when I was getting off the bus, he yelled, make sure you go to the cafeteria and get some orange juice. You need some vitamin C. You need some vitamin C, buddy, okay? You're my buddy. And that's when the kids started upping it a notch as far as making fun. And then instead of just saying little things, it began that there was a love affair, and I was in love with Freddie the bus driver. And they're like, you love him? And I'm like, I don't love him. They're like, his penis, your asshole. And I'm like, no. They're like, you're in love with him. You're in love. I go, no, he's my friend, really. They're like, you're in love with him. I was like, so this went on for 2.5 years, and when you're in high school, it's a long time. Trust me, it's a long time. And then I had a friend my own age, B-Land, he got a car, and I remember the day he goes, hey, do you want to ride to school? And I was like, yes. And it felt like there's a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And so he picked me up that day and just driving out. Felt like I had a clean slate. Get out of the car, B-Land gets out of the car, also our friend Fetus. I had a friend called Fetus, he was a little kid, he looked like a fetus, he was a nice boy. So we're walking, the three of us, and we walked by the bus, and Freddie's parked there eating his donut and drinking his coffee. And as we go by, he opens the door, and he sees me and he yells. He's like, Adam Wade, you're a big boy now, you're a big boy, Adam Wade, you get a ride. Your mommy told me, yeah. And I just kept my head down and I kept walking, and I ignored Freddie. And the next day he did a similar type of thing, and again, I just kept my head down to the ground and I just walked by anymore. I didn't want to hurt Freddie, but high school is tough and you got to do what you got to do. And then after a few days, the door is no longer open. So senior year, another year goes by, and I don't know why, but I felt confident this time. We got out of the car with Fetus and B-Land, we're walking, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do Freddie a favor, I'm going to wave to him today. So we go by, and I go to wave to him, but instead of Freddie on the bus, it was a woman that looked like Meatloaf, and the singer, not an attractive lady, God bless her, but I was like freaked out, and my heart started pounding, and my friends were worried about me. They're like, what's up? And I'm like, nothing. And I had like a panic attack because I was afraid. I didn't know what happened to Freddie. Did he die? Did he change routes? I mean, there's only 2 other buses. And so that night I'm eating dinner with my parents, and my dad grew up with Freddie, and I desperately wanted to ask my dad. But the way I am, I'm very self-confessional, so I was afraid if I asked, I'd start talking, and I wouldn't shut up, and I would admit that I'd been ignoring Freddie, and I didn't want my father disappointed in me, so I just kept the secret with me. And I graduated from high school, I went to college in New Hampshire, and then I moved to New York. And I've been in New Jersey for the past 14 years, dealing with the secret, and I take the New Jersey Transit bus into the city every day for work, into the Port Authority. And if anybody here works for New Jersey Transit, I apologize for what I'm about to say. But the bus drivers there, the pricks, when I say that, they're really pricks. Like, I'll get off the bus, and every day for 14 years, I go right up to the bus driver, and I'll say, like, thank you, have a good day. And none of them say shit. They don't say nothing back to me. And I don't know if it's like penance or if it's like the brotherhood of bus drivers. There's some type of picture of me in the Port Authority that says, don't talk to this guy, Freddie, for him, do it for Freddie. So this summer, I went home. I go home a couple times a year, and when I go home to New Hampshire, there's 3 things I always do. I'll go to the mall in New Hampshire. Amazon's taken over. It's breaking down, but they still have the food court, and I still treat myself to an orange Julius, a small one, because my stomach is good. I highly recommend that. It's not a club, but I highly recommend it. And I go to this mom and pop place called the Pyramid for Chicken Tenders, and then I always go to Granite State Barbershop. It's the best barbershop. So proclaimed. I mean, they call it the Granite State. New Hampshire is the Granite State. It's Granite State Barbershop, so it's really good. The head barber is a bald barber, and he thinks that's ironic. Roland the barber, he's a good guy. He's got Beefeater gin in the back. He's got a Viagra clock. You got to, if you could only see it, it's amazing. So I'm sitting there waiting to get my haircut this summer, and he's cutting this gentleman's hair, and it kind of looks like Kenny Rogers, and he's really heavy set, and he keeps looking over at me, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking back, and finally this man says, excuse me, are you Adam Wade? And it was Freddie, and like, I'm not a touchy-feely guy at all, but I ran over to him and I just started hugging him. I'm like, Freddie, you're the best. You know, you're the best bus driver ever. You know, the New Jersey Transit bus drivers, they're pricks. But you'd always say, have a good day, have a good. And he's got like this cement smile and he feels good. You know, he feels good, I feel good. And like Roland's like, come on now, enough with the the Love Fest. I got to cut hair here. And it was good. And we started talking sports. Wade loves chicken. He likes the chicken. And we're going back and forth. It was just an amazing day. And Roland finishes the haircut, and I give Freddie one last hug. And I just, when I'm hugging him, I just say thank you, you know. And Freddie leaves. And then I sit down to get my haircut. And Roland does a good job. I got glasses. I take off the glasses. He cuts the hair too short all the time. So once you put the glasses back on, there's like no hair. But what I like about Roland, and I don't know if people like this at the barber shops, but he puts like a hot foam, and he puts it on your back, and he shaves it with a straight razor, and then he puts it's like a bay rum, and you smell like an old man. It's nice. You gotta be there, but it's a nice feeling. So Roland charges $14 for a haircut. And my brother and my father both go to Roland. They always tip him $2. Cheap. But when I go, you know, because I'm coming from New York City via Hoboken, I give him a $20 bill, and I always say, here you go, Roland, you did a good job, keep the change. $6 tip. Because like it's like a small town, everybody goes there, there's a lot of gossip, and I know what he says, you know. He's like, you know, Ed Wade, Matt Wade, they're cheap, you know. But Adam, you know, big deal, big deal. He's a big deal in New York. He's a success, $6 tip. $6 tip. No, he's not living in a basement in Hoboken. No, he's in a penthouse, Upper East Side. Don't worry about him, he's doing well, $6 tip. So he's sitting there, and I'm like looking at the hair, and I'm like, Roland, you did such a good job, thank you. You know, I pull out my wallet, I take out a 20, I go, here you go. And Roland says, put your money away. I go, come on, Roland, you did a good job. He goes, no. And I go, what, why? He goes, Freddie got it. Freddie, I love you. I'm not in love with you, but I love you. Thank you. My dream in life is someday, like, I'll tell this story. Freddie will be there. There's hope. So let's have a comedian come up right now. This guy was he was just in Montreal for the Just for Laughs Festival. He did such a great job. Jai Young Lee, everybody. Jai Young.
I'm Jai Young Lee, born and raised in China. People ask me questions about China, like, what do you think of your government? I said, well, I can't complain. It's an authoritarian regime. I won't explain every joke. I can only show you the door. You have to walk through it. My grandfather used to say that. No, it's from the Matrix. It's not easy fitting in, starting with the language. For a while, I thought a psychopath was the same as a bike lane. Yeah, to save the environment, we need more psychopaths. Trying to be more literary, but words still throw me off. I was reading Catch-22 and came across the word geyser. Looked it up, says to overflow like a geyser. Oh, you've caught me 22. If you have an exotic name like me, you'll find it misspelled a lot. And when you correct someone, you have to be polite. I'm so sorry, I don't think that's how my name is spelled. but I could be wrong. I saw an interview with Moby on music. He said, you have to listen to everything. It's like Chinese food is good, but nobody has it every day. A few people in China do. A fifth of the world has it every day. Nobody has it every day. His music is good, but every day nobody plays it. I think we're forgetting history. A lot of people Googled who is Frederick Douglass. By the way, you don't need who is in the search. If you leave it out, Google won't be confused. You mean how to do the Frederick Douglass? Alright, you're not gonna like this. I hope white liberals would act on their ideals. You can't frown your way to progress. When I have a white liberal friend over, I say, please make yourself uncomfortable. Meanwhile, white women look at Asian men like drivers look at cyclists. Some have an attitude, most don't look. That's two issues in one joke. You can't crash into a cyclist and be like, it's fine, I drive a Prius. And people say that's the most liberal car, but I think it's the Volkswagen that cheated on the emissions test. What's more liberal than pretending to be less toxic than they are? Usually when the show's over, someone will go to a random Asian in the room. I love how you address racism on stage.
I love how you addressed racism on stage.
Sometimes I want to be in the service industry because, like saying cash only, it's powerful. Do you accept Jesus? Sorry, cash only. I'm at that age now when my parents talk to me about marriage. I just want to leave. I'm like, Dad, you're breaking up. You don't have to lie, son. He put his hand on my shoulder. I live in a lifeless apartment on my own. Once, a cockroach went under my bed. I was like, why are you here? I eat out. You know, a friend of mine is a good cook, then slide his address down there. The place I lived has a gym, which I never go because it's competitive. I saw some guy doing a clap between each push-up. Impressive. I did one push-up and gave myself a standing ovation. Saw some writing on a bathroom wall. For a good time, call this number. Come on, George, I know it's you. You're my only roommate. This shouldn't be how we communicate. I used to think gay men and straight men were different, but you have the same thought when seeing a handsome man at a party. I hope he's gay. Thanks, everyone.
One more time for Jai Young, everybody. Coming to the stage now, you've seen her on Netflix's Master of None and HBO's Crashing. Her Twitter feed is unbelievable. Aparna Nanchola, everybody. Aparna.
So it actually feels like you guys are in a great place in your lives. No, things are pretty good for me. I recently celebrated a 1-year anniversary of being in a relationship. Thank you for not clapping. Definitely haven't earned it yet. But no, I'm not cocky about like meeting someone. You know, I am what you would call a rescue. Like my boyfriend did find me at a kill shelter, so it was really only a matter of time. But it's fine, because he's always like, she saved me, you know, so it feels like equal footing all around. But I had been single for a while before that, and I knew it kind of gotten to a breaking point for me, because I live in New York City as well, and like, you know, this happens in a lot of places, but when you're walking there, sometimes you'll get stuck behind couples on the street. It happens every time of year, every neighborhood. And you know, you'll try to get around them, but then you can't because their love is so strong. And then, you know, you're just like trapped walking in the credits of their movie, and then you just have to follow them home and become their child. So it was kind of a hassle. I was pretty low on time, but yeah, I did do a lot of online dating. You know, I served many tours online, and I did a lot of different sites. I did, you know, Match. I did OK Cupid for a long time. I did like a trial month on Yelp. Like I really went the full range. But oddly, of all those sites, like the worst date I ever went on was actually off of Facebook. Has anyone been asked out off of like a social media site, but not specifically catered to dating? Okay, yeah. Was it? Do you mind saying what site it was? It was Facebook. Was it? I guess the latter gentleman. Was it somebody you knew? No. And how did they approach you? I'm not ready to talk about it yet. Has anyone who has been asked out on Facebook, was it by someone you knew? No. Yes. Someone you did not know? Yeah. Yeah. And did you go on the date? Yeah. Yeah. And is she right there? How did it go?
Well, for a while.
Oh, it did. So it actually turned into something. How did she first like approach you?
Where you like poke each other.
Sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
When they poke each other, it was like she kept poking me.
Oh, of course. That feels like the most natural way to flirt online. I see your web presence. That's cool though that it went for a while. That's so funny. Were you the first to poke, or was she?
She was.
Oh man. She just stumbled across another good specimen. She was like, I'll give him a nudge. No, I got asked out off of Facebook. It was also someone I didn't know. They weren't so forward as to poke right away, but they did. They sent me a message that was like, oh, you know, I saw you do comedy at a show. I thought you were funny. Let's go out. And normally, you know, I wouldn't really engage that type of message. Like, you know, I've seen Making a Murderer. Like, I'm not a very active imagination, but there's something, I think I had just been having a bad week. Like, I had read too many mean internet comments. I was just like, who am I, you know? So I was kind of like, yeah, go on the date, you know? It's like, what's the worst thing that can happen? It's like, what is that expression? You know, it's like YOLO, you only date occasionally. emoji, so you gotta take the opportunities when they present themselves. Can't be that picky. But I remember the first thing that was weird about him was that his profile picture was just a Santa emoji. Yeah, it's the right reaction, because right away there's a chance he doesn't have a face. Or his face is in fact a Santa emoji, and you know, it's like, I'm open-minded, but it's gonna be a discussion eventually. So I had my friend Google him, and she was like, no, he checks out, he has a face, you're good to go. I don't like to Google people before the first date. I'm kind of old-fashioned. I feel like some things you should save for marriage, you know? So we decided to meet up. We made plans. Like I believe I picked the bar. Like I tried to pick a place where it's like, if I go missing, people would be like, at least she had a good time before she left. Yeah, at least 4 stars. And so we met up, and first impressions were great, I have to say. Like, he was tall, he smelled good, he had a face. It was like triple threat. And you know, it wasn't one of those Picasso faces where you're like, oh, I didn't realize this was a riddle, you know, like everything was fine. And then he bought us drinks, we sat down, started talking, and then one of the first things he said, where it was just like, red flag meter alerted! Like one of the first things out of his mouth, he was just like, something you should know about me, I'm really big on honesty, I just like telling it how it is. And it's like, okay, who opens with that as a human? Who is like, listen, right away, like, you're gonna hear some stuff. And it's also like, honesty on a first date? No thanks. Like, I've always been of the opinion that dating is like health insurance. Like, you wait until you're accepted in before you reveal all your pre-existing conditions. You know, you wait until year 5 before you're like, oh, by the way, honey, I have diabetes and another family. So, happy anniversary. But yeah, I feel like a first date, you know, when it goes well, it's like your lives are compatible with each other, and you're like, oh, we both invest in this farce, let us continue. So anyway, it was like, night is young, let's just see where it goes. We started talking, we didn't have a lot in common. He was like, I work in finance. I was like, I have no money. Like, we were hitting a few walls, and then maybe midway through the night, there was just like a lull in the conversation. And then, just apropos of nothing, he goes, you know, I'm actually pretty funny. I could be a comedian. Oh, okay, wow, you guys reacted with a nice combination of quiet horror and disgust, and you were not prepped. First of all, that's not how being funny works, you know? Like, you don't have to give someone a heads up that you're funny. You don't have to be like, oh my God, I should have told you this earlier. I'm funny. So you've been missing a lot of cues on your end with the faces and the noises. It's also so condescending to be like, oh, you know that thing you do, you work pretty hard at, made a lot of sacrifices for? I thought about doing it, but I'm too good. I'm too good! Like, you wouldn't do that for any other career. You wouldn't be like, oh, check this out, check this out. I've seen the moon a couple times. Pretty sure I'm space material. Like, it's a very presumptuous thing to say. At that point, if I remember correctly, a cockroach ran across our table. Yeah, it was a very sweet New York moment. Really, it should have been foreshadowing. I just didn't pick up on it at that point, because after that, the date completely derailed, and he basically just turned into an Amazon algorithm, where he's like, you might also not like the next thing I'm gonna say. Because, you know, then we really ran out of everything to talk about. I feel like the date itself stood up and left the room. Like, it was like a fundraiser at that point. I think we discussed like the levels of our waters. I was like, oh, you drink more, it shows in your skin. You know, it was done. And then, circling back to his original point, he was just like, you know, I should tell you this, I only friended you on Facebook because you're an Indian comedian. He was Indian as well. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, I just wanted to support an Indian artist. I didn't actually think you were that funny. And I was just like, why are you? Why are you saying this out loud to me? There's so many other people you could tell this to. There's like an entire internet created for these types of grievances, you know? And I didn't say that, I just thought all that, but I started to make the face of someone whose like eyes are bleeding, but there's no blood. I was just like, why do you bring this plague on my people? And then he took a second, and then he was just like, that was a joke. And I was like, what? Like I immediately reached the level of outrage of someone ripping off two monocles at the same time. Like I was so mad, just like taking off wigs I wasn't wearing. Just like, sir, how dare you insult me with my craft in front of my children? It's like pointing at my coat, like it didn't make sense anymore. And then he was just like, that was a joke, do something, react. And I didn't, I just sat there, I like left my body, it was like a husk at that point. And then he just reached across the table and he forced my mouth into a smile. He smile violated me. He smile-ated me. Like my brain ran out of reactions in that moment. It was just like, error, situation does not compute, patriarchy overload. Like women get mad when they're told to smile on the street, but to forcibly be smiled? Like I was mad at myself in that moment for when he touched my face, not having it just like melt off and be like, now you're cursed. You failed the test. There never was a date. But the rest of the evening can best be summed up from a quote from the movie Titanic, which I had to copy down. You remember that film? Okay, here it is. Afterwards, the 700 people in the boats, that's me, had nothing to do but wait. Wait to die. Wait to live, wait for an absolution that would never come. So we just celebrated a year. No, I'm just kidding. He's still out there. Good luck, ladies, but really good luck, everyone. He's an equal opportunity offender. But yeah, that's the worst date I've ever been on. But you know, I've online dated, and I feel like I didn't meet the one, and I did, though, come across a lot of men where I was like, I don't want their voices to be lost, you know? It's like, they must be like spread, because where else are they going to be represented in society? I don't want them to be overlooked. So I just wanted to leave you with some of the highlights I've come across in my time. And some of them were great. Like one time a guy just sent me a message that was like, that said, come smoke weed. Whole message, sent on Christmas. I was kind of like, Jesus? He is a hippie. This one was a very strong start. He just writes, I got kicked off the site, but now I'm back. I was like, oh, we missed you. Things have not been the same without you here. And then we learned he was not rehabilitated in his time away, because he immediately followed that with, want to see a sexy pic? And I was like, you know, no dick pics, but thank you. And then he writes, too bad, you would have liked. I'm like, okay, that's fine, I'm not going to hate on a body positive man, you know, that's not my brand. So I wrote, no, really, it's okay, I prefer the suspense. And then he just writes, too bad, have a great night. And honestly, I kind of love how classy he left the whole interaction, you know, because I'm thinking that's probably his whole night, you know. He's just like, you want it? Don't have a great night. You want it? Don't have a great night. You want it? Don't have a great night. I just love that he's like, gentleman up top, pervert down below. Something for everyone. And then this one is kind of just seared into my brain. I think you'll know why. He writes, hi, I am intrigued by your unique, wholesome sensuality, your sexy mouth, adorable smile, perfect cinnamon skin, and petite figure culminate in a singular, stunning beauty. I know, it's like this robot learned how to write. And then he continues, I'm looking for someone sweet, cute, sexy, and smart for brunch dates and to cuddle and fuck. Still worried. More worried. And then he ended very cryptically, have you ever been to Staten Island? I'm Jerry, let's chat. I like that after writing that whole beautiful masterpiece, he was just like, come on, bring it home strong. Who can resist SI? And I'm a Jerry. They love it. Guys, that's going to be it for me. Enjoy the rest of the show.
One more time for a party, everybody. Our next comedian has been in the movie Trainwreck, and she's been seen on TV's Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Everybody, big hand for Marina Franklin, everybody.
Okay. Thank you so much. I know this is different in Staten Island. This color. We'll try and figure this out, okay? So I'm gonna curse a little bit. Everyone was like, I'm gonna do it a lot, actually. I am also gonna talk about dating. That's what's going on with me, so strap in. Okay. I'm a person who's like happy that I'm single. And it's been a while for me. I haven't been laid in a while, and that is a lot to tell an audience that doesn't know me. But, you know, if I don't tell you, you know, how am I going to get lucky? You kind of got to put it out there in the universe so it comes back. And it's not that I can't, it's just that I am doing something different than I've ever done before. I am starting to get to know men before I sleep with them. Don't do that. Because, oh my, can they talk you out of it? Oh, you just let them talk, and you'll be like, you can't have this. Like I had this one guy tell me he was going to take the bus to my house. The bus. I was like, this ain't no bus, pussy. Right? This is special. It's special. And you're going to take the bus to it? He even said he was going to transfer to another bus. Thank you for laughing at that. Because I had done this in Wisconsin, and apparently they all ride the bus there. It was very quiet. There was just one lady. She was like, oh, she's fancy. Doesn't ride the bus. I don't. I take the train. I am a train person. The train has really changed me too. I used to be a really nice person, and I'm an asshole now. The train will do that, you know. It will, especially in New York City. You ride it enough times. Like even just like coming here, just to meet the car that brought me here. It was just like on the platform. It's one guy who's just on the side, he's just crazy, and then normal for a second. Crazy, and then normal for a second. Just shake. I was like, is he gonna pee on himself? What's he gonna do now? Then I see a girl, she's looking at me, she's like, yeah, what's he gonna do? I was like, now I work for you and shit. Now I got a job to inform. I don't know. I don't give up my seat for no one on the train. That's my seat. I am the winner. Okay, I don't move for no one unless, you know, someone's jerking off next to me. And even then, it's still my seat. By the way, sir, you're very talented. It's been a while. But I don't give up my seat for no one. Like I had a woman one time just staring at me with her child, like I should get up. I just looked at her right back. Like maybe you shouldn't have had it. Like where is this my problem? Okay, it does not always take a village. Sometimes it takes a condom. I'm just saying you got options. At least this week, I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh, so you got it. Okay. But I don't know. Yeah, so that joke was really about me being an asshole, so you got it. And that's why I'm probably single. Yeah. I don't know. It's not been too, I mean, I was in between, at one point, I was in between a guy who could do a headstand and an architect. Those were my options. You know, and the architect guy sounds good, right? You know, what woman doesn't want to say, we like to say what our guy does, you know, that he has a great job. We like to say, oh, my guy, he drew that building. Who doesn't want to say that? Headstand guy. I don't know how to explain him at a party. If they ask me what he does, I'm going to be like, baby, go outside and show them that amazing headstand that you can achieve. Oh, they're good headstands, though. Seriously, they're on Instagram. It's beautiful stuff. Beautiful work. But I just don't know what to do with that guy. I went on a date with him. We went on a date. He wasn't drinking, which is weird. That's how you get through a date. He's just looking at me with his sober. So I asked him, I go, do you drink? And this is a normal question to ask someone when they're not drinking. But it threw him. One eye went the other way. And this is what he said, I kid you not. He goes, well, when I'm at the strip club, I have sangria. Yeah, no, he wasn't finished. there was more. This is a real answer from a real guy. This is in the Village in New York, and there's a little weird guy in the corner going, no, you don't want this. It's such a weird answer, so many problems with the answer. And then I started to wonder, is there a guy at the strip club just chopping fruit for sangria? Kiki's pretty good tonight. Just let him talk. But yeah, the architect guy, he would be good. But he's a freak. He's got options. So, and he said he was addicted to threesomes, which I don't know. I was like, should I get the Uber car now and leave? I can't. I just have one vagina. I can't do that. I can't compete with that. But yeah, he said I wouldn't be a good wing person. Yeah, for his threesomes. Because I'd just be like, do you want him? Because I mean, he's into it. Whatever he wants. I went on a date with the architect guy and his daughter, because that's what I get now. I'm older, so I don't get just a guy. I get a whole family. At a certain age, that's what happens. Like my Tinder is completely different. It's like this family looks good. This family, oh, this one, oh, the mother did a good job on this one. I could finish this one off, yes. But I went on a date with this guy and his daughter, and the daughter, she was no babysitter, the mother wasn't, and this little girl was such an asshole. Oh, I like kids, but I hated this one. Oh, because she had this weird smile, just smiling at me. Like she knew she had complete control. Just ready. Just give me the thumbs down. And then she asked me this question. She was like, do you have kids? I was like, she goes, why? I was like, no, I'm not. She goes, why don't you have kids? I was like, because I sold them. If you keep talking, I'm going to suggest this to your dad. Child. On Instagram, everyone's liking his photos. I still stalk him on Instagram. Like his photos with her. And I'm always like, oh, I wish there was a way I could put a thumbs down to this photo. I don't have kids. I didn't do it. I think about it, and then I And I'm never going to get a man, really, because I realized this about myself. I'm not really into making a man happy. That's just not my shit. That's not what I do. so am I. Shit. Get a menu. Order something. You'll never even see me stir. I don't know. Something about seeing a man smile just makes me angry. It's like, is that joy? There'll be no joy in this relationship. Like I dated one guy who smiled a lot. He couldn't help it. That was his face. He was just happy. I live in New York City. That can get you killed. Just walking around just happy. Like I told him, I said, you need a street face. Like, where's your street face? He was like, this is it. I was like, yeah, we're gonna die. On the subway car, late at night, he's just smiling. This crazy guy gets on the subway car, looks right at him. He's like, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. My boyfriend is still smiling. He's like, we should move to the next car. I was like, no, I want to see what happens. I think you can learn from this. This is going to be your lesson. Was that a baby that I just heard, by the way, crying? Or was that my imagination? Okay. No one wants to answer that? Not even the baby. The baby was like... It's weird because we do shows and they don't tell us if there's going to be kids in the audience or not. So if you're here, I'm sorry. They didn't tell me that shit. I just do what I do, so fuck it. I don't have kids. That's why I'm probably like this too. I don't get it. Like my sister has kids. God bless her, and I don't even think she likes them. It's not in the way she says it. She goes, "I love my kids." I go, "You do?" She's like, "Mm-hmm." Come visit. I'm like, no. I do. I stay with them, and I'm from Chicago originally, so I'll stay with them. And I'm an asshole. I don't get a hotel. I just stay in their space. They don't know where to put me. So I was there, and the youngest one, the baby, cries a lot, and it's colicky, but past that phase where it should be, and it is a very aggressive cry. It's just mean. It's like, this is a girl. So it's not a good start. Like, who's gonna care? So when I was there in Chicago, I drank a lot. They had me on this flotation device. That's where they set me up, so they didn't know where to put me. This is Christmas time, so I'm underneath the Christmas tree like the little baby Jesus. And I hear it. It wakes me up out of my drunken sleep, 3 o'clock in the morning. I hear, and I started crying. I was like, oh shit. I hear my sister go in the room to deal with this, because I'm not. I'm like, what is she gonna do? And I hear her go, shh. I'm like, does that work? It doesn't work. It went on all night long. All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, I hear my sister go, shh, shut the fuck up. And that worked. I actually heard the baby go, okay. That's motherhood. That's motherhood. If you're not a mother, you judge. If you're a mother, you get it. You're like, yeah, I've been there. I'm not. So the next day I see my sister. She's in the kitchen, different. She got on a cookie smock. She's making cookies. The sun's hitting her. Oh, she looks beautiful. And I go, do you remember? She's like, huh? I was like, do you remember telling your baby to shut the fuck up? And she just looked at me. She stopped making cookies. She just looked at me and she was like, shh. You shut the fuck up. You gotta mind your business. I made that mistake say one time I saw a woman on the street yelling at a child. This is gonna be the child because I don't have one. She was just yelling at it. She was like, "Get your ass over here!" Oh wait, hold on. Let me make it. See that? This would have been a Dutch child. They're tall people. Anyway, she was just yelling at this child. She was like, "Get your ass over here!" I said, "Get your black ass over here! Get it over here!" Now what the hell are you crying for? Shut it up! I said, shut it up! I'll pop you in your mouth! Stop calling me mom! That's confusing. I looked at her, I was like, oh my God, you don't talk to a child like that. She looked at me. She was like, what the hell are you looking at, huh? You wanna raise my child? You're doing a great job. I was scared, I ran. 3 long blocks. I was like, don't look back, just keep going. But you can't help it, right? You wanna see what's going on. I looked back for just a second. She was still standing there looking at me. Hey, you guys, thank you so much.
Before we bring out our headliner, one more time for Marina. Let's give a big hand for everybody that put this together. All the theater people here. Such a great job. Your headliner tonight, I'm so excited to follow him out here. He has a great podcast, Beautiful Anonymous. He's also the star of the True TV show, The Chris Guthrie Show, and also his HBO special. It's a must-see. Career Suicide. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Guthrie.
Been loving that all night. Hello, thank you guys for having me. I'm very excited to be here. That is genuine. I really do greatly enjoy Staten Island. I'm not even blowing smoke just to get you on my side. I grew up not so far from here. I grew up in northern New Jersey. And I feel like there's yes, we have some Jersey people, so nice to see it. I feel like there's a similar chip on the shoulder between New Jersey and Staten Island. We're kindred spirits in many ways. I feel like we both grew up in places where you can see the New York skyline, you can see the city of dreams, and it couldn't feel farther away. I like that feeling where everyone mocks you for being something that you're not. The end, I mean, Jersey, everybody flies into the Newark airport. I get it. That's what you see. Jersey and Staten Island, both lovely places. Everyone should show up. It's fine. It's okay. I will say this too. I think both share a culture. When you grow up here and you're a teenager, there's nothing else to do except sneak into abandoned buildings. I think that's a thing we share. I ran out of abandoned buildings to sneak into, so I've snuck into many Staten Island abandoned buildings. I've been inside that one half of the CVU hospital that's just sitting there, the farm colony nearby. I've even been inside that monastery that used to be near Wagner College. That one was the freakiest, that one was the scariest by far. Big cross out front. I'll also say this, in the late 90s, I worked in a movie theater on Route 1 in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and we were very lucky. People have been. A lot of Staten Island people like to go there at the time. I think it was the nearest theater. It was one of the first ones with IMAX in the area. Always packed out. Used to get free tickets, so I went to a lot of movies, and I learned it's very fun to watch a movie with a room full of people from Staten Island. Good experience. It is. They say, I feel like people think Sleep No More was the beginning of all this interactive theater in New York. I would argue that watching a movie with a room full of Staten Islanders was the first truly interactive theater. to make it to New York City. I will say this too, Adam mentioned my True TV show, which was very nice. I enjoy it. I think many people probably know Impractical Jokers are on that network. Native Sons of Staten Island. A lot of their fans, very nice to me. Lovely people who tweet kind things. A lot of people also tweet things at me like, your show sucks, when is Impractical Jokers coming back on? I get it, they're very charming, the show is hilarious, I am a fan of it as well. I got a Facebook message from a guy, this was about 9 days ago, that's no joke, and all he said was, you ugly fuck, you're ruining True TV. Staten Island, you'll be happy to hear I clicked on his profile. He was a graduate of Tottenville High School. He was. And I grew up close enough to hear to know, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense. Thank you, Tottenville. So I'm very happy to be here. I mean it genuinely. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time. I wonder if anyone else had this experience. Has anyone else noticed that ever since like The Walking Dead became popular and like Game of Thrones became popular, you can always kill time now. If you ever run out of a conversation topic, you just ask your friends, what's your strategy if the zombies come? Like when the zombie apocalypse comes, how do you get out of here? And everyone has an answer now. They think of it because of those two shows. And I really enjoy it. It breaks down regionally. I found when I go on the road, I ask crowds, what would you do? And it's very interesting. Like in Manhattan, they always say, I'm gonna hide out in the subway tunnels. That one's very common. In Brooklyn, especially Williamsburg, people always say, I'm gonna steal out a boat and I'm gonna get out on the East River, which I love that, because it is like, you don't know how to sail. You know what I mean? Like, I know you guys don't know how to sail, it's fine. In the Midwest, I would say, this is no joke, about 30% of the time, when I ask that question in the Midwest, someone just shouts the word Costco. It's really, it's a very strange phenomenon. But I like it. I like that the Midwestern instinct is to buy in bulk. I really like that. I do like Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland. I always think of those as like very, very chill, very relaxed areas. They always have super in-depth, lengthy answers, and they answer like this with like this tone of grim seriousness in their voice. It's always very elaborate, and you can tell that it's really thought out. And I've realized, oh, I thought it was really chill up there. No, that's also where all the serial killers come from. Like that does make sense. I've probably had like a dozen different plans over the years where I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm gonna do. And I would share them with you guys, but that would be a waste of all of our time. We all know that I die immediately. We know that. As soon as my glasses break, dead. That's it. All of us with glasses were dead. I heard a glasses person clapping over there. I'm certain of it. If you're on any medication, as soon as it runs out, that's like heart medication, obviously, but even something simple, like Accutane. Someone in your tribe will be like, you're pimply, you're weak, I am the alpha, you're dead. Like that's how it goes. Ask my dad what I should do. My dad's a very smart guy. He has a PhD in environmental science. Very smart man. And I said to him, I'm like, I live in New York now. If the zombies show up, what do I do? How do I get out? How do you get out? And I gotta stress to you guys, he answered instantaneously. He didn't take 1 second to think about it. I'm like, New York, zombies invade. What do I do? How do I survive? He goes, follow the rats. And I was like, excuse me? And he goes, rats are survivors, man. They'll be going somewhere. You go there too, maybe you'll be a survivor too. Follow the rats. I was like, I've known you for 37 years, dude. This is the first cool thing you have ever said. That's fucking amazing. Follow the rats, that's like my new life mantra. Follow the rats. Follow the rats anywhere. Till, of course, the rats go down some alley that's a dead end where there's like a 1-inch gap in the brick that they can squeeze through because they're rats. And my glasses fall off. That's it. That's it. These are the things I think of. That's how I start a comedy show, talking about a zombie apocalypse. That's funny to me. That's it. I'll tell you, here's another dark thing. Here's another dark one. I'll bring this up. Looking like that, you guys, it's the blue-collar areas that we grew up. North Jersey, Staten Island, share that, working class. I got bullied a little bit, not surprising, looking at me, I'm sure, it's fine. I'm over it, happens, had to happen to someone, happened to me a little bit. I remember the very first time I dealt with it. It was my second day of high school, freshman year. Second day of freshman year, I walk into the gym locker room. There's all these guys sitting on benches, and they see me, and one guy stands up and goes, ah, and all the other guys go, and I was like, oh, I don't know what this is, but I know it's not good. And this kid, he walks towards me, he's locking eyes with me. I've never said a word to this kid in my life. We have never interacted in any way. And he just walks right up to me, he says nothing, and he just cocks back, and he just bitch slaps me. Right across my face, bitch slaps me. And as I'm doing that, I bet some of you guys are going like, wait, that's also called a backhand, right? Like that's one motion with two names. How do you know? How do you know when it's a backhand and when it's a bitch slap? And the answer is, you know. When it happens, you know which one it was meant to be. One of them you're like, ah, why'd you do that? The other one you're like, ah, why am I this? Like why? Like, that's the major difference. I'll never forget though, he does that. And then he looks right at me and he goes, what are you gonna do about it? And that's important. That was his actual tone. It wasn't tough guy stuff. He wasn't like, what are you gonna do about it? He was like, what are you gonna do about it? Like if I had an answer, he was willing to listen, you know? If I was like, I really need to brainstorm, he'd be like, yeah, dude, just talk, whatever you need, whatever you need. Yeah? But of course, the whole thing is he knows I'm gonna do nothing. Like, right? That's why he's even asking. Like, he's big and I'm small, he's got this crew, I got nobody, like, I'm gonna do nothing. Ha, ha, ha. But I remember so well, even at that young age, I remember being like, you're right. I'm like in my head, I'm like, you're right. I'm not gonna do anything now, you piece of shit, but I promise you, down the line, I'm gonna do everything. Like everything you and your boys think I can't do, I'm gonna go at that hardest of all. I'm just gonna attack everything I wanna do. And I'm not trying to be braggy, but like, the very least, my life has turned out cooler than I thought I was allowed to live, you know, like I really have set some goals in my life. I've accomplished all of them. I've done everything. I'm proud of that. You know what he's doing right now is nothing, mostly, because he had an aunt in Ireland. She died, left him all the family's land. He flipped it. He's a millionaire now. That's why he's doing nothing. He doesn't have to work. He's got millions of dollars. This is true. He's got more money than all of us, I'm sorry to say. I have driven past his estate. It is impressive. I would never dishonor it by calling it a house. That's an estate. I can see from the outside. He owns horses. Who does that? For anybody who's feeling like, yeah, you've done everything, getting inspired, I apologize. Turns out, life's not a fucking fairy tale. Bullies win all the time. You know what he's definitely not doing is like going to any borough that will have him at 6:30 at night so he can complain about me. Like it's not happening. He's over it. He hasn't thought about me in many years. He's not thinking about me at all. Promise you that. Promise you that. That's two dark ones. I can tell you something. Here's something happy. I just celebrated my 3rd wedding anniversary. Been married 3 years. Happy about it. Thanks. That's nice. That's nice. I like it. I like being married. I will say, my wife's not here, so I feel like I can just vent a little bit. I bet there's other married people here who would agree with me. Like, it's really nice, and it's worth it. I work hard at it. I like working, but it's like pretty stressful. It's like pretty. I'm like constantly in my head. I'm like, I'm gonna fuck this up. Like. Because here's the problem, like my wife is cool. And I don't mean like, yeah, my wife's cool. I mean like she's one of the cool people in the, like she's the lead singer in 2 different punk rock bands. Like she was a professional aerialist for a while. Like the way she entered our wedding, she took a zip line over a lake in her dress. Like she's a badass. And like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not ideal that this is what I bring to the table. The worst part is I have met guys who my wife dated before me. It's not good. It turns out my wife has a type, and it's not this. I met the guy who she dated right before we got together. The last guy she dated. Turns out this dude is an Argentinian guy, where as soon as I heard that, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Beautiful people. He's an Argentinian professional rock climber, and when rock climbing's not paying the bills, bills, which I don't know how it doesn't. He supplements his income by being a burglar. That's true. I'm not making that up. I promise you that. He uses his rock climbing skills and equipment to scale buildings in Buenos Aires and steal from the rich. That sounds like the coolest fucking person ever. And she settled down with me, a guy who has body hair that can accurately be described as not yet a man, but not still a boy. Like that's what she went with. I don't get it. I really don't. I think you can tell from my act that I've never felt cool. I've always been insecure. I've always felt dorky. But it's funny, actually a few years ago, I was like, I wonder what the coolest moment of my entire life has been. And it actually came to me really quickly. It did, it came to me right away. I was like, yeah, that's it. I was never that cool before. I'll never top that moment again, right away. It happened when I was in high school, which I'm as surprised about as you guys are. I'm home one night, I'm eating dinner with my mom and my dad, and they go, hey, we're going out tonight, so do your homework, go to bed your normal time. All right, and I'm like, okay, but where are you going? Because my parents did not go out. This was not a thing. My mom she's very scared of the world, having to drive on the highway at night. She'd never do that. My dad, total workaholic of a man. He was always gone before I woke up, came home late, he was grumpy, took like nothing to set him off. He was always exhausted. They never went out, let alone in the middle of the week. So I'm like, where are you going? They go, oh, we're going to the NJPAC in Morton, the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. We're gonna go see Bill Cosby do some comedy. And I just heard a couple snickers, I heard a couple sighs. I want to be clear, I am with you, I promise. I'll remind you, this was in 1997. Hannibal Buress had not told us yet what was going on. I really want to underline the fact my parents would never, current day, they would never give their money, time, or support to current day Bill Cosby. And I've thought about changing who it was, just saying it. Maybe I'll just pick some other comedian, classic comedian who's still active back then. But then I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. None of us knew. It sucks that happened, but it is. And everybody here is a grown-up. We're smart people. We understand them. It's all good, right? We can move on. It's fine. Everybody goes. So my parents go out. They say, do your homework. Go to bed. All that stuff. I say, got it. As soon as they leave, I pick up the phone. I call my friend John. John was a very important person in my high school life. He was my kid with man head. Which I can tell, it sounds like you guys called it something else. I promise you, you had this in your life. You had to have had a kid with man head in high school. This is the kid who has the body of a 16-year-old boy and inexplicably the head of a 45-year-old man. You befriend that kid. You befriend that kid right away. Because if you want to drink underage, you gotta be friends with the kid with man head. And I really needed it. I needed a vet because I was a late bloomer in a big way. So I was like a little boy with an even littler boy head. Like I really needed my kid with man head. I called John. I'm like, dude, my parents are gonna come over. We'll drink. He's like, great. Stop at the deli, pick up some 40s. I'm on my way. I go, no, fuck that. We gotta see if the rumor is true. No 40s tonight. Let's see about the rumor. There was this rumor in my neighborhood, very Irish-American neighborhood, all these bars. There's a bar called Quigley's. It had been there for decades. My grandfather used to drink at this bar. And one day, out of nowhere, the sign that said Quigley's came down, and a new sign went up that said Paulie's. And it was the same exact place, except now they also served pizza. And I will say, I think another commonality Jersey and Staten Island share is we all know, around here, occasionally things just turn Italian. Every once in a while, in this part of the world, a thing that was never Italian is all of a sudden Italian. And we all know why. The rumor was that Quigley had a gambling problem. He got in deep and the mob was like, we're taking your bar. And he was like, fine, just don't cut off my fingers. Like that was what happened. And there was a rumor you could call up, order a pizza, and if you were cool, you could just order a beer and they would deliver it to your house. So we call up, we say, let us get a large pie with sausage, 30-pack of Budweiser. They go, okay, no problem. And all of a sudden, about 20 minutes later, doorbell rings. John opens the door, I stay in the background, guy gives us pizza. Guy gives us beer, John gives him money, gives us change. John gives him the tip. He's like, thank you so much. The guy's like, yeah, no problem. Enjoy your evening in with your son, you know? Like, we go in my basement, we're eating pizza, we're drinking beer. It is the best. We're talking shit. High school shit, right? The science teacher, I won't say his name, the science teacher, the physics teacher, his face. How did it get like that? What have you heard? Oh, I heard there was a field trip. He was on the bus, leaned out to yell at some kids. When the wind hit his face, that half stayed frozen like that forever. Really? I heard it was Bell's palsy. It's gotta be one or the other, right? Those are the only two options, definitely, right? I'll never forget, we put on a movie, one of my all-time favorites, the John Cusack classic, Say Anything. That was it. Beloved movie from the months. That's it, right? Two 16-year-old boys just getting messed up watching rom-coms, baby. Just get shit-faced, throw on a romantic comedy. And we're in the middle. It's a very fun night. All of a sudden, we're in the basement. The windows above us, my parents' headlights. John's like, dude, you said they were going to be home late. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to my parents. Like 10:15 is 2 a.m. Like, I totally forgot to convert this into parent time. We're freaking out. We're taking all the empty cans. And there's an end table at the end of the couch I'm sitting on. It's got these doors. We open them up. We're throwing the cans in there, being real quiet. We hear my parents come in. They're walking in the kitchen above us. We hear my mom's little 5'2" Irish lady steps. And we hear my dad's 6'2", 220, just like workaholic stomps above us, you know? And we're throwing the cans. We're being real quiet. We hear my mom walk past the door. She goes upstairs towards their bedroom. I'm like, great. Maybe they think I'm asleep. They go to bed. John sneaks out. Problem solved, right? We're throwing empties. We hear my dad walk up to the door. Door opens. I'm like, oh no, my father's coming down the steps. I see his feet. We are still throwing empties. I see my father's knees. We're throwing empties. John spills a whole beer on the carpet, because of course it's carpet, right? But it's still throwing empties. See my father's waist. See my father's stomach. John takes a big pillow, throws it on top of the beer that he spilled. We're throwing empties. See my father's chest, throwing empties. See my father's chin break the surface. Just as he comes around the corner, I throw the last empty. I slam that door shut. I drop onto this couch. John drops onto that couch. As soon as he comes around the corner, my dad sees John. He goes, John, I didn't know you were coming over tonight. And John goes, yeah, well, I'm here, Mr. Gethard, so whatever. And I'm like, you gotta play it cooler than that. Whatever you're gonna do, like, don't try to fight my dad. Like, what are you doing, you know? And my dad just looks at us and he goes, you guys have got to go see the Cos, man. Go see Cosby in action. He's amazing. Master of his craft. He did like 2 hours. It felt like 45 minutes. You could tell he was making up some of it off the top of his head. If there are tickets, he's there 2 more nights. Promise me, you'll go. Promise me. John's like, all right, yeah, fine. I'll go see the Cos, Mr. Gethard. I'm like, John, come on, man. And my dad goes on for a few minutes about how incredible this evening of comedy was. And then he goes to walk away. And he gets to the bottom of the steps, he does a double take. He looks right at that end table. And he goes, Chris, what are those beers? And I go, what beers? But I look out of the corner of my eye, and I see that when I slammed that door shut, it bounced open. It's about that wide. There's this gap. He's staring right at it. I go, what beers? He goes, dude, it's Budweiser cans. Like, it's the most easily identifiable branding in beer. It's the red and white cans. What are those beers? And I realize I'm caught, right? I am caught. My father is a very smart man. They exist. There's no way around this. He's staring at the gap. So I know in my head, I'm like, okay, I have 2 options. I have exactly 2 options here. Option 1, apologize right now. Grovel. Maybe he'll take mercy on me if I just eat shit right out of the gate, right? Or option 2, try to say something cool in front of my friend. And as soon as I think of them, I go, yeah, we're gonna go 2 on this one. Let's go option 2. So my dad goes, what are those beers? And I stand up off the couch and I go, those beers? Those are the beers that me and this guy been drinking all night. And here's how I know that that's the coolest I've ever been and the coolest I'll ever be. My father, who I've said at least 3 or 4 times tonight, is a total workaholic. He was a stressed out man for most of my childhood. My father looked me right in the eyes and went, well, all right, and walked up the stairs. I don't always mention this part, but you guys are very nice. Minutes later, my mom opened the door and we went, do I smell beer? And then it was just 3 years of Irish Catholic guilt. It was just endless. It was just, and the next morning, this is true, the next morning I woke up and I was a senior. I went to drive to school. My mom goes, I hope you're not late for the bus. And I go, what are you talking about? I drive to school. She goes, not today. You might still be drunk. That was it for 3 years. 3 years of her just looking me in the eye and saying things like, I guess I just thought I was a better mother than that. Like just, Catholic shit. And she told me that she called that bar and got the guy fired. She told me that. And I felt so guilty. And she finally told me that that wasn't true 2 years ago. She was 7 years old. She felt the appropriate length of time to let that guilt sit in my gut was decades long. She thought it was a decades-long punishment. Catholicism. We all do, right? Catholicism. I'll tell you guys, there have been 2 times in my life where I have heard someone say an absolutely perfect thing. 2 times where I have been present, someone has said something and I'm like, you nailed it, that was absolutely perfect. Now, I keep mentioning I grew up in Jersey, grew up in a neighborhood called Down the Hill. It was the tough part of my town. Want to be clear, not claiming that I'm tough. I understand that I look like a grown-up version of Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. I know that. But I grew up in this section of town, so I took the Down the Hill boys bus. All the guys from the wrong side of the tracks in my town. And as you guys can imagine, crazy things happen on this bus every single day. One day, I get on the bus. I'm immediately hit with a whole bunch of ice cubes. I dive into a seat, I turn around. I realize a few guys have gone to the supermarket, gone to the freezer, gotten like the 5-pound bags you get to fill a cooler, and every time somebody new gets on the bus, they're just whipping ice at them. So I'm mad I've been hit, but right away I'm like, who's the next son of a bitch? You know what I mean? Like, it's really fun. We're picking up ice, throwing, screaming. Want to be clear, bus is sitting still. It's on school grounds, hasn't left yet. Driver's on the bus the whole time, does not say a word. He understands that down the hill in West Orange, New Jersey, snitches get stitches, bro. He keeps his mouth shut. Keeps his mouth. Eventually starts driving. And when he does, it goes from all of us on the bus being in an ice fight against each other to everyone teaming up in an ice fight against the entire town of West Orange, New Jersey. Every window on that bus comes down, every car that comes by, ice. Every storefront window, ice. It's like, oh, you think you're jogging? Today, miss, you're fleeing ice. That's what you're actually doing. And we hit a red light. It's next to a bus stop. It has one of those glass things, a bench inside, and as you can imagine, it's a tidal wave of ice goes like this thing. Everybody on that bench does what we would all do. They get up, they go on the other side of the glass, right? So the ice hits that, they wait for the light to change so we go away. They all do that except for one guy, who's an older guy, like early 60s, stands up, he's wearing a real nice suit, he just stares us down. Ice is hitting him, legs, he doesn't care, chest, he never blinks, and then one piece flies through the sky and hits him in the head and kind of shakes. And when he looks up, something's different. You can feel it. Light turns green, we pull away, go back to throwing ice at each other, cars, business as usual, until I hear somebody in the back of the bus shout the words, "That man! He's chasing us!" We all turn around to see that not on the sidewalks, yellow line, he's running after our bus. We erupt in cheers. We love that we caused this. We were 16-year-old boys. It was the best. One kid takes a whole bag of ice and shakes it out the window, hoping to create like a Home Alone style booby trap to get the guy. Guy dodges all of it. He has footwork, man. Now we're in a moving vehicle. He's an old man, so we can outpace him. So we go over a hill and we're like, cool, we lost him. And then we hit a red light, and over the horizon, here he comes, man. There's no quit. And this old man, he catches up to the bus. He's hitting the door. He's going, open it. You open it right now. Driver ignores him. He wants no part of it. Old man doesn't skip a beat. He takes his hands and goes, opens the bus door with his hands, which we didn't know was possible. He gets on the bus, he's breathing heavy, he's been running for a while, but it's clear he's about to speak, and he proceeds to say, 1, of the two perfect things I have ever heard. What he said was, which one of y'all wants to get off this bus and fight me like a man? And we were all like, did not see that coming. Dude, we started cheering and laughing. We loved that he said that. He didn't care. Louder, he goes, which one of y'all wants to get off this bus and fight me like a man? And then we go silent because we're like, this question is not hypothetical. So now we're looking around like, well, does anybody want, like, who? And right then, this kid Dave stands up from his seat and he says the second perfect thing I have ever heard, which was, Dad, please get off the bus. And that was the day we grew up. You guys have been so nice. Thank you so much for having me. Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Do you need the bathroom or anything?
Everybody, one more time for Chris Guthrie. One more time for all our performers. You've been an incredible audience. Have a terrific night.
Run to the bus.